I'd like to call this meeting in order. Would you please stand with me and recite the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you for coming out on this beautiful summer evening. First item on business is our weekly commission reports. And this is an opportunity for us to tell the public kind of the things we're involved in for the city of Shelton. So, Commissioner Moore, did you have something to say tonight?
Yes, actually, tomorrow I have a Housing Coalition meeting as well as an Executive Housing Coalition meeting. I'm planning to go to Smoke and Mo's Sidewalk Cafe grand opening tomorrow, and then maybe hang around to watch the 70s beer choir at Smoke and Mo's. Interesting. I am planning to attend the after hours at Cameo Boutique in Union on Wednesday, and then on Thursday I will be attending Music in the Park.
Okay, Commissioner McDowell.
I'll back up a little bit. Last Friday I was invited to attend the 60th anniversary of the Exceptional Foresters. They've been in Mason County for 60 years, and it's been a wonderful evolution, or evolve, I should say that. They've evolved wonderfully over the 60 years. And it was just really nice to see how they are in charge of that organization. So they do a great job. I enjoyed that. Tomorrow I will be attending Smoke and Mo's grand opening. On Wednesday I will be at the after hours out at Cameo in Union. Thursday I have my weekly briefings. Sunday we'll be at out at Mason Lake. Staff appreciation will be there. And Monday I'll be out of town. And I also have 3 different meetings this week with some citizens of concerns they have with the city that they would like to talk to me about. So anyway, that's my week.
Thank you very much. Tomorrow, which is Tuesday, I will be attending my monthly MACECOM board meeting. Thursday, I will be attending my Economic Development Council board meeting. And I will have a staff briefing at my scheduled Thursday time. That completes our weekly commission reports. Next on the agenda is any public comment. We have an opportunity for the public to speak at every City of Shelton Commission meeting. So if anybody would like to say something about a general issue, you just sign up the card. But do we have anybody tonight? None. Okay. So are we ready for a reading of the consent agenda?
Yes.
Yes.
Could we please have that reading of the consent agenda?
Consent agenda. Voucher number 15090 in the amount of $3,700.13. Vouchers numbered 15093 through 15189 in the amount of $205,562.85.
Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I make the motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second that.
There's a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Nays? The agenda passes. Now, just for everybody out there to know, we have like 8, 9, or 10 different action item agenda subjects that we're going to be going through tonight. And so just hang on. We've all been previewed about these things first, so we're just tonight getting ready to place them on our, basically to approve on our action agenda. So, because I'm going through 4 pages here and I'm just preparing myself to do this. So the first item is a historical designation and from our Historical Society, and Mark Ziegler is going to talk to us about that.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. As a follow-up to the brief from the meeting last week, I'm bringing to you tonight the recommendation to place the historic bandsaw monument and log monument that are located at Overlook Park on the City of Shelton's Historic Register. As you know, these monuments are quite significant in nature. The city, they've played a vital role, at least the the bandsaw monument in shaping of the city and the community's timber industry, and the log monument recognizing 100 years of commercial forest practices, lumber production within the community. So if you don't have any questions tonight, appreciate the consideration of placing these two monuments on the city's historic register.
Okay, I just would like to make a slight correction. It's the City of Shelton Historic Preservation Board, which is a different group than the Historical Society.
Oh, sorry about
A
that.
common mistake. And also, I would like to thank Kathleen Waugh for being here tonight. She's a very dedicated member of that board. And I appreciated the history on that. I wasn't aware of the history of the log or the bandsaw, so I think it's a great addition to our historic register.
Any other questions or comments to Mark? I think we approved this or voiced that we were in favor of this last week, and I did want to thank the Shelton Historic Preservation Board and all of their volunteer work for doing these activities for the city, and I think it's a fantastic idea. So at this point, you're requesting a motion.
Correct, Your Honor.
Okay.
Okay. I move to place the historic log monument and bandsaw monument on the City of Shelton. Oh,
I made a mistake.
Public comment.
Public comment on every single one of these. So if there's anybody who wants to, I'm sorry about that, Tracy. Anybody who wants to speak about this specific issue, we have to have an opportunity for the public to comment. Seeing nobody signed in, then we can then move forward with that motion.
okay, I will finish.
Thank you.
I move to place the historic log monument and bandsaw monument on the City of Shelton Register of Historic Places.
Okay.
I second that.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much. Next is our Director Mark Ziegler going to talk to us again about another historic log monument and bandsaw monument. I have two of these, so didn't we just do that one?
Yeah, let's jump into the rotating art gallery.
Oh, sorry. There you go.
All right.
I got you right.
Thank you, Mayor, Commissioners. Once again, I am pleased to bring you the Shelton Arts Commission's recommendation for placement in the Civic Center Rotating Art Gallery. The city called for submittals from artists with a deadline of July 28, 2017. The Shelton Arts Commission met on August 1st to jury the pieces. We had 5 artists submit their work for consideration, bringing to you today 4 artists. I believe there's photos up at the dais there for you to look at if you like. Those 4 artists are Matthew Mish, who has some prints on metal, Kit Peterson, 3 pieces in the medium of oil, Mark Harrison, also an oil painter, there's 5 pieces from him, and Christian von Newdag works in the medium of wood, so 5 pieces that would be located in the cabinet at the top of the stairs of turned wood. And with your approval, I would...
I have a question first, because that name is, I've only heard once in my entire life. The Newdag person must be related to our financial director.
Correct.
It wasn't too hard to figure that one out. So is she your daughter or
Husband.
husband? Oh, it's her husband. Okay, well, it sounds exciting. Is there any other questions or comments then for Mark?
I'm just amazed at the artwork that comes up all the
Yeah.
time, the imagination and the creativity that people have.
Yeah, beautiful.
I am amazed. And it's a great place to have that in there along that wall.
It is, yes.
Yeah.
And I'm not good at it at all. I don't do art at all. But is there any public comment on this issue tonight? If there's none, then what we can do is at this point, it looks like you're just asking us to concur. Is that
I'm
correct?
asking for a motion tonight to approve the Arts Commission's recommendation.
Okay, I'm missing the word motion, but I'm going to write that right now. So do I have a motion?
I move to approve this Shelton Arts Commission's recommendation of artists to be displayed in the Civic Center Rotating Art Gallery for the term of August 8th through August 31st, 2017.
I'll second that motion.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Noes? The ayes have it. Thank you very much. Mark, you're up again. Let me see if I can get this one right. You're going to talk to us about a letter of interest for an appointment to the Shelton Arts Commission.
Correct.
All right.
Correct. The city recently received a letter from Sherry Bray submitting interest to be appointed to the City of Shelton's Arts Commission. There's currently one opening on the Arts Commission at this time. We have an open term through December 31st of 2019 to fill. Ms. Bray is a fairly new resident to the Shelton area and has some long history in the arts as a practicing artist and with a degree in arts-related field and fine arts as well. She attended the last Arts Commission meeting and felt like it was a good fit and something she wanted to pursue. So today I'm bringing to you the recommended appointment of Sherry Bray to the Arts Commission for a term through December 31st of 2019.
Okay, first, again, let me get this one out of the way. If there's anybody from the public that would like to speak on this issue, we have to make this opportunity available to you. Seeing none coming forward, do you have any other questions or comments for Mark?
I would just like to say I'm very impressed with the background here. I think that we're very fortunate to have someone with these abilities and experience to apply for the Shelton Arts Commission. So I'm grateful for that.
And I'm grateful to have volunteers to fill all these positions. Okay, so I think it says here we need a motion for this. Could I have a motion?
I move to appoint Sherry Bray to the Shelton Arts Commission to complete an unexpired term through December 31st, 2019.
So there's a motion. Is there a second?
I second that.
Okay, it's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? The letter of interest and appointment passes. And next is our Community Development Director, Mark Ziegler again. Boy, you want a chair, or if you're feeling okay, just standing
Fine,
there?
thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
You're up next again, Mark.
Okay, so tonight I'm bringing to you to the action agenda the adoption of the 2015 International Building Codes and the ordinance that goes along with that, as briefed last week to the City Commission. This is essentially a procedural exercise to adopt the 2015 codes that the state requires local jurisdictions to undertake. The only really other option is to either continue operating under previous codes or write a code ourselves. So that probably isn't as cost effective as it is to adopt the ICC International Building Codes and be essentially in line with every other jurisdiction in the state.
You tweaked a few things in this, didn't you? Did you tweak anything in this, updating them?
No,
Tweak 'em.
No,
it's
okay.
adopting the code as written by the
Okay.
ICC.
All right.
Correct.
Do we have anybody from the public that wants to speak about this issue? Seeing none, we can continue with our discussion. And this is just kind of like one of those things like housekeeping or whatever. I mean, we're signed into the international code, and so every 2 or 3 years or so, we have to kind of update it. And being an ex-builder, I see we have no choice but to go along with this, and I think it's what we need to do. So any other questions or comments concerning this?
I would just, I guess, like to recognize that there is a portion in here, again, that gives certain accommodation to historic buildings that are undergoing repair or changes, that there is some relaxation or some more choices within the building code. And so I think that's something that often people aren't aware of. And I would like to just recognize that here to encourage people to buy and rehabilitate our historic buildings.
All right, and we've already asked if anybody from the public wanted to speak on this. I don't know if I got to that or not, but appears not. So at this point, it looks like we're looking for a second reading and a motion to adopt this ordinance. So do we have the second reading first, please?
Yes. Ordinance number 1904-0717, an ordinance of the City of Shelton, Washington, amending Title 18 of the Shelton Municipal Code relating to building codes.
Okay, do I have a motion?
I will make a motion. I move to adopt ordinance number 1904-0717, an ordinance of the City of Shelton amending Title 18 of the Shelton Municipal Code relating to building codes.
I second that motion.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much, Mark. All right, next is a couple of other items that our Public Works Director, Craig Gregory, will be bringing forward, and so I will turn this over to him at this time.
Thanks, Mayor, Commissioners. As we talked about a couple of weeks ago, we are looking to close out a couple of projects that we have finished up construction on. The first one of which is the Upper Mountain View Pressure Zone Phase 1A. And as we discussed before, that project was the tank, the 400,000 gallon tank out located on Public Works Drive, and also the extension line that led from Highway 102 into that tank location. And I would be happy to answer any additional questions if you have any tonight.
Any questions for Craig Gregory? If there's anybody from the public who would like to speak at this time concerning this issue, now is your opportunity. Seeing nobody signed up, then what we can do at this point is, I guess we're going to need a motion to approve the final closeout of this Upper Mountain View Pressure Zone. That's right, and so I would request a motion.
I move to approve the final closeout of the Upper Mountain View Pressure Zone Phase 1A project by signing the capital project final acceptance form.
Is there a second?
I second it.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Next, Craig is going to talk to us about another closeout.
So this one is the Upper Mountain View Pressure Zone Phase 1B, which was the extension line from the location of wells 3 and 4 on Shelton Springs Road, up Shelton Springs Road to Tarragon, to connect those lines from the well to the extension of Washington State Patrol's extension line.
Okay?
I have a question. And on the other one, I noticed this too. When we award the lowest bid and then the total project cost is less than the lowest bid, how does that happen?
Could have been from multiple things happening throughout that project. Could have been something that ultimately ended up not being needed in the project. Could have been some cost savings through the contractor. It really could have been anything within these projects with some savings to them.
It's just nice to see that, and we do see that frequently. And so, like, I'm looking at this one, and it looks like, I don't know how much, I'm not going to do the math, but a substantial amount of savings, so I think
Yes.
that's awesome. Okay, thank you.
Very good.
Is there any public comment about this issue? Seeing none, then I guess staff would request a motion at this time.
I will make that motion. I move to approve the final closeout of the Upper Mountain View Pressure Zone Phase 1B project by signing the capital project final acceptance form.
A second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. And next is, you are going to be sitting in for our engineer Logan Brady tonight. Is that why you're not moving from the podium?
That is correct.
See, I got that, didn't I? And I didn't see Logan here in the audience either, so,
Excuse me.
bless you. Okay, so again, you are going to talk to us about an agreement and with some financial consulting solutions.
So last week, we discussed contracting with FCS Group to get a better understanding for staff, not only within Public Works, but also Finance, to really look at our two utilities, water and sewer, and see exactly where or how our rates are structured. And without having the FCS Group come in and give us an overview of what that looks like, we are really, at this point, in the dark on what those rates involve, what the structure was, what the long-term forecast was for those two utilities. So this is really to get a better understanding for not only, like I said, Public Works, but also Finance moving forward.
So is there anybody from the public that would like to speak about this issue at this time? Do we have any questions for Craig Gregory at this time?
So I know that it's important that we get this information so that we can make educated decisions before we do the budget for next year. What is the time frame that we're looking at to have this information back?
We are looking at trying to get them initial information mid-August, so within the next week or two, and they would have us an update back by the end of August with a commission presentation sometime in mid to late September.
Wow, that's a quick turnaround. I guess that's an advantage of working with a company that has done the preliminary work.
Yes, that's already done the work for the most part. It's basically just letting us know exactly where we're at this point.
Great.
Last commission meeting, I showed some resistance to spending $32,000, which is not necessarily a bad thing, because I always want to save the city money when we can. I did have a conversation with our city manager, and I was kind of under the impression that this study was only 2 years old, and that I thought it was a hefty figure to update that. But he informed me that I think this original was like 5 or 6 years back.
That's correct.
Yeah.
The water portion.
The
was
water
5 or
portion
6
was.
years,
So
yes.
I feel comfortable at this time approving this extra expenditure for this needed information for us to make an informed decision. So just so the public, if they're following that, I questioned it. I felt comfortable with the answers I received, and I am open to vote yes on this tonight.
Good. Thank you.
Any more questions on this?
No.
Okay, so at this point, it looks like we're requesting a motion.
I moved.
Oh, public
Oh,
comment?
public
Sorry,
comment.
I gotta do it every time. Boy, sometimes this is hard, but I know I can do it. Is there anybody from the public that would like to speak about this subject? Seeing no one stepping forward, could I please have a motion?
I move to approve the contract with FCS Group for the water and sewer rate study update by authorizing the city manager to sign that contract.
I second that.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? The motion passes. And now, Mr. Craig Gregory is going to talk to us about a second reading and an ordinance.
So we discussed the water connections and how those are facilitated through the water department. And when we were looking at that overall program and how that was actually dealt with, we found an error in what we had done with the city function moving forward and what the potential costs were to that department. And we're really trying to rectify that situation with this moving forward. And what we have is all of the other utilities, sewer in particular, and the other water functions with the commercial connections, all of them are done by a private contractor that would be inspected by city crews, but they would not be installed by city crews. So with residential, it was actually installed by city crews at the city's expense. So we would like to make that change to align with all of the other utility connections, to have a private certified contractor do that connection while the city is doing an inspection on that, but not actually doing the work. And that would put us in line with all of those other connections that are being dealt with out in the field.
Very good. Is there anybody from the public that would like to comment on this issue? Seeing nobody stepping forward, are there any more questions or comments for Craig Gregory?
No, I just think it's a good step forward to get that changed for the city.
I will say that working with Craig and his present position is that he is always thinking of ways that he can save the city money. And I greatly appreciate that because I kind of think along that way too. Sometimes you can't, but I do appreciate that. And anytime you can find double tasking or whatever, I do appreciate the effort that you're putting forth in that. So I have asked the public if they wanted to talk, and we're done on that question. If there's any more questions or comments for Craig on this issue, then I guess we're looking for a second and final reading of this ordinance. So let's have the reading first, please.
Ordinance number 1902-0717, an ordinance of the City of Shelton, Washington relating to the water connections, amending section 15.12.010 and 15.12.060 in the Shelton Municipal Code.
So is there a motion to approve?
I make the motion, I make the motion to move to approve the changes to the City of Shelton Municipal Code and Design Construction Standards for water connection requirements.
A second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oppose? Motion passes. And it is Mr. Craig Gregory again we're going to talk to about the TIB.
So now,
Oh, pardon.
Can I please read the second ordinance?
Did you only read one? Do you want to read another one?
Oh.
Before I knock on the wood? Okay, please.
Ordinance number 1903-0717, an ordinance of the City of Shelton, Washington relating to the water connections, amending section 4.050 in the City of Shelton Design and Construction Standards.
Okay, do we need another motion? Okay.
Okay. I move to approve the changes to the City of Shelton Municipal Code and Design Construction Standards for Water System Requirements, Ordinance Number 1903-0717, to amend Section 4.050.
Okay, is there a second?
I second that.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Now, Mr. Gregory is going to talk to us about the TIB.
now as much as we want to save money, we're going to look to spend some money on this one.
Oh,
So we are looking at applying for and would like the commission to grant us the ability to apply for a Transportation Improvement Board grant for the Alder Olympic Highway North grant, which would be a project from C Street down to First Street on Alder. And that would include everything from stormwater improvements to ADA, sidewalks, streetscape, and new roadways within that area on Alder and Olympic Highway North.
We talked about this last week. First, is there anybody from the public that would like to say anything about this at this time? Okay, so we have questions or comments for Craig Gregory at this time?
no, I do not. Not at this time.
I do. Just I want to follow up on that. We do have a 30% match in this, and this is
Correct.
probably one of the biggest expenditures that I have kind of almost approved since I've been sitting here. And so I take that position seriously. 30% is a lot better than a 10% grant and a 90% loan. So 30% is pretty good. And we're also looking for some other partners maybe on that, were we not? Or is this?
We are.
Yeah.
We've already talked to MTA, and we've also talked to PUD, which both have expressed interest in partnering with us for portions of this project. So that would certainly reduce our match that we have of the 30% of this project. So looking at it, it's not all just transportation money. You're looking at some partnerships. Stormwater would also be contributing a portion of this for that grant match. So that entire 30% is not going to be coming out of just transportation dollars. It is partnerships and also some utilities also.
Thank you for clarifying that, as I am 100% behind this. I think it's great. I wonder, what's that music? Is that what Gordon listens to when he's not working? Oh, my goodness. Okay, so any other questions for Craig? I guess not. I guess I would request a motion.
I will make a motion to approve submission of the Transportation Improvement Board grant application for the Alder Street Olympic Highway North project and authorize the city manager to sign.
I will second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? The motion passes. And now, there looks like there's a part two on this, and so.
There is a separate part two.
There's a separate, and I
A
didn't
different
I
grant
ran out of
application.
folders here in my book.
A separate grant application in our arterial preservation grant, which is a separate grant than the Alder Street Olympic Highway North grant. They are two separate programs from the same funder. So both are TIB grants, but they are completely separate. So it's not, if we get one grant, it reduced our chances to get the other. They are completely separate. So as far as looking at these projects go, and the ability to either get one or both of them, one doesn't affect the other in any way. So we are looking at a grant proposal for Turner Street to pave from First Street up to 16th. And that would come with a 10% grant match. And at this point, the total project looks like it's about $500,000. So we would be looking at about an additional $50,000 in grant match to get that section of roadway done that has been neglected for quite some time now.
Does anyone from the public want to speak on this issue separately? I don't see anybody coming forward, so any questions or comments?
Yeah, when we did a portion of Turner a few years ago, was that an overlay? Is that what we did?
That was an overlay.
And
That-
so this would be a more permanent solution?
That's correct.
definitely. Okay, so that would mean we would have to go down and completely redo the street and the roadbed, or?
It would be full depth. We're not quite sure of what that looks like right now. What we are talking about is doing an asphalt rehab project where basically they're tilling in the recycled asphalt into the base to shore up that base material, and then do a 3 or 4 inch pavement over the top of that. So it would certainly be more than the 2-inch Band-Aid that we put on it a few years back.
Good, yeah. So we just hope that there's enough left of the original roadbed that we can do that.
There certainly should be enough
Okay.
asphalt on that roadway. We've taken a look at that, and there is enough depth there once we grind that up and get it tilled into the sub-base that we should be able to make a pretty decent roadbed to put a new pavement on.
Now, I'm assuming that when you do that, when you're into the roads, you do check the utilities to make sure they're all in good condition that run under the street, or are they alongside the street up there?
We pretty much know what is in that roadway up there. It's not the newest infrastructure, but at this point, we feel that it's well enough and has enough life left on those utilities that we would not need to reconstruct any of those, and that's really what is keeping the cost of this project down.
Okay.
And that's what an APP project is, an arterial preservation project is really it's just a road rehab and does not involve any of the utilities, sidewalks. There will be some storm work up there that will be done by in-house because we do have some storm issues up there, 15th and Turner has just an open storm pipe that drains onto the street, which we'll try and tie that into a catch basin. And there's a few other locations that we will take a look at to try and rehab before we actually get into the roadway.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions for Craig Gregory?
I've mentioned this project to several people that drive that street. They're very excited.
Good.
Yeah.
So get the grant.
We're doing our best.
All right, so at this point, I would request a motion to approve.
I move to approve submission of the Transportation Improvement Board grant application for the Turner Street project and authorize the city manager to sign.
I second that.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? The motion passes. Thank you very much for bearing with me through those 10 experiences. Now I'd like to turn the meeting over to our city manager, Ryan Wheaton, see if he has anything to share.
Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners. Two things. One, our new city attorney is going to start next week, so Kristen French will begin her work on Monday, the 14th. In addition to that, we are also hopefully going to bring some information forward to the next few weeks about potential locations for YMCA. That group has approached us and has begun discussions about where they might want to locate in the city, and we'll be in touch about that as we move forward.
Thank you very much. Our next meeting will be on Monday, August 14th at 2 p.m. in the afternoon. This meeting is adjourned.
Vicki,